if you can stay connected to your dream, if your work can be happy to sustain the dream, then you're living. Then there's an aliveness. Then there's a drive, a motivation, a determination to keep living the dream. Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Brand Is You podcast. Whether you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or you're tuning in with me on YouTube, welcome to my home. I'm so happy to have you here. I will start off by saying this is a really inspiring episode. We're going to bring you back into the dream, the reason why you started throughout this episode. So if you feel stuck or stagnant in your work, if you ever wonder why you're doing what you're doing, listen to this whole podcast through, because there's going to be a lot of little aha moments and journal prompts for you and inspiration for you to get back into your work, to remember the dream. And I don't know about you, but for me, staying really connected to the dream and realizing how important it is for me to find happiness in the work that I'm doing before the results come, before I get the outcome that I'm wanting, I really need that for myself to stay focused and to stay on track and to remember why I started. Because let's be honest, the entrepreneurial journey is not neat. It is messy. It's a fuck show, as my friend Kat would say, and that's okay. But as long as we keep coming back to the dream and get refocused and re-inspired in our work, then we can get where we need to go. We can get where we want to go. So, that being said, if you follow me along on the podcast, be sure to like this episode, be sure to subscribe, never miss an episode. We always talk about something different. We're always diving into new ways for you to elevate, refine, build, and grow your personal brand. So I would love it if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel, if you'd share this on the socials. I really honestly wouldn't be here without you. So thank you for taking that extra step and making sure that we get to keep doing this and continue on our journey together to build your personal brand. So that being said, if you've been in my world for a while, it is without a doubt that you have heard me talk about this book, The French Art of Not Trying Too Hard. If you're watching me on YouTube right now, you can see this book is beat up. It's got my daughter's stickers all over it. I have highlighted and dog-eared almost every page in this book. I've read it multiple times, and I like to get to the point, but I'm going to start with a little story. I picked this book up when I was in Paris on a solo European adventure. Hello, dream come true. I had 24 hours in Paris by myself, and I walked into this little bookstore, and every single book on the shelf was obviously in French, and I don't speak French. So I really just enjoyed the aesthetic, walked around with my coffee, soaked up all the vibes, and absolutely loved being in there. And right as I was about to leave, I noticed this cute little book sitting right beside the door, and it was in English. So obviously I picked it up and I ended up buying it because it spoke to exactly what I wanted. I had been admiring the effortlessness of the French culture and people. I had literally been writing in my journal hours before how just easy it feels to be in France, how real everyone feels, how embodied, how natural, how much less thinking there seems to be. And so when I saw this book, The French Art of Not Trying Too Hard, I knew it was for me, and I was right. So if you're looking for a good read, I highly recommend it. It's a super easy read, but it's full of all of these insightful little nuggets, and I'm going to share some of them with you today. So the kind of topic for this podcast episode is remember the dream. And I wrote this down in my notebook to lead with because I really feel like it's easy for us to forget the reason that we started, right? We have this dream, we have this idea, and it feels exciting in the beginning. It starts off with this spark and this electricity, this energy behind it. And then as we move into the dream and we start to take the actions that the dream requires to be realized, we shift into this energy of struggling, of suffering, of like, oh my gosh, this dream feels painful. We sort of put ourselves through the ringer to achieve the dream. And if we're not careful, what can end up happening is that we end up hating the journey. We end up burning out, we end up feeling exhausted, and we get disconnected from the dream itself, forget why we even started, and then we really start to feel disheartened, and we start to wonder if we are in the right place. So if this is resonating with you, then you're in the right place right now. We're gonna have this conversation, and I'm gonna guide you back to your dream so that you can really stay rooted in that and move towards the thing that you want the most with a little bit of grace and even inspiration in your step. A little skip in your step, because who doesn't want that? So there's a quote in this book that I wanted to share. It says, it's by the author, I'm going to say his name completely wrong, Olivier Puriel. I'm sorry, that's absolutely incorrect, but we're just going to go with it. The quote is this: "For work to be happy, it must be sustained by a dream." For work to be happy, it must be sustained by a dream. And I'm in the business of helping you build a personal brand. And what is a personal brand other than happiness in motion, other than you embodied in your purpose-driven, soulful work? What is a personal brand if it's not bringing you joy every step of the way, right? The way that I see it, a personal brand should be something that you're excited and honored to wake up for, not a chore, not a struggle, not something that feels really painful and hard, but something that really fulfills you and moves you and drives you to continue within that dream. So if your personal brand doesn't feel like that, then why wouldn't you just go get a 9-to-5 job, right? We want to make sure that we are committed to the dream. We want to make sure that we are feeling the happy energy, the joyful energy of the dream, so that we continue with the dream, so that we stay inspired not to quit. Because I don't know about you, but I have had many, many days as an entrepreneur where I have just considered walking away from the crap, going to get a job that's secure, going to get a job where all I have to do is show up. I don't have to think, I don't have to vision, I don't have to go through the challenges or make the decisions. I just have to go to work. And I know that a lot of you who have jobs are like, well, wouldn't that be nice, to just be able to quit and make all my own decisions? Yes. It is. It's a luxury. It's a privilege to work for yourself. And that does come with challenge, right? It comes with a different type of challenge. But if you can stay connected to your dream, if your work can be happy to sustain the dream, then you're living. Then there's an aliveness. Then there's a drive, a motivation, a determination to keep living the dream. But not if your personal brand feels like a chore. Not if it feels like you're not doing it right or you can't quite figure it out, right? So that is where we want to take this conversation next. How do I make my work happy if the dream doesn't feel like a dream? How do I stay inspired in my personal brand if my personal brand feels like a total gong show, like a dumpster fire, right? So once we get started, once you decide to bring your dream into reality and you decide to start taking those initial actions, one foot after the other, to start working towards the dream, something happens. And that thing is called life. Life starts to happen at the same time as the dream. So we've got two parallel things going on at the same time. We've got the version of you that's working towards the thing that you really want, and we've got the you that's going through life, paying the bills, dealing with your kids, arguing with your partner, going to therapy. And both of these people are coexisting. So in any given day, this person who's dealing with all the life stuff and this person who's really working towards the dream, they're going to come in conflict with each other every once in a while. And the person who's dealing with life is going to say to the person who's dreaming the dream, "What the hell are you doing?" This is completely unrealistic. This is silly. This is a waste of time. We shouldn't be doing this. This is creating more stress than it is bringing fulfillment. And when this person who's really busy living the life wins, when they get to make the decisions and call the shots, this person who's dreaming the dream gets really disheartened. This person who's dreaming the dream starts to get really down on themselves, and self-doubt starts to funnel in, and they start to think, well, what the fuck am I doing this all for anyways? Okay. So what we want to do is recognize that there are these two elements to ourselves, the dreamer and the doer. The one who is making sure life happens, making sure the mortgage gets paid and the kids' lunches get in the backpacks and the vacuuming happens. And then there's that version of ourselves that's out there advocating for our future self, advocating for the thing that we want the most. And eventually, over time, those two versions of ourselves will meet and they will merge, and there will be a sacred union of all of who you are, because your life will become the dream. But right now, you need to realize that until the dream becomes your reality, this version of you, the life version of you that needs to make sure the chores are done and the bills are paid, that version of you is going to need to reach a little bit deeper, dig a little bit deeper to stay in the energy of trust, of hope, of effort, of progress, to make sure that the dream stays alive. So we want the now version of you to support the future version of you by saying, hey, I know this is hard right now. I know we're riding the struggle bus a little bit, but we've got this, right? It's not this or that. It's this and that. It's yes, this is hard and the dream is worth it. Now, something happens when we start to live in full body, full identity unison like this, with everything that we are and everything that we want to be. Something starts to happen. Okay? When we struggle, when we suffer building the dream, we start to realize that the effort we're putting in to the dream, to the thing that we want the most, feels a lot less like effort. We start to notice that the pain of not having something yet is diminished because we become more rooted in the hope and in the knowing that the dream is coming. So when we put effort towards someone else's business, when we show up 9 to 5 to our corporate job, when we're punching in and punching out and meeting someone else's deadline to build their dream, now that's effort. Right? That struggle can feel really heavy because it feels like we're giving our lives to someone else for something else outside of ourselves. But when we put that same energy and effort towards our own dream, when we're building something that's important to us, it hurts a little bit less. Okay? So I'll share a personal example. I just signed up for my second marathon. I'm running it in May, and I'm really stoked about this, but I'm also scared as hell because I don't actually like to run. Okay. The whole reason that I signed up for a marathon in the first place was to prove to myself that I could do something that I didn't want to do. And I did it, and it was excellent. And now, 10 years later, I'm really excited to challenge myself in the same way. Now, here's the thing. If I was just running for the sake of running, I wouldn't enjoy a second of it. Truly. I would really detest everything about it. I would struggle to tie up my shoes. I would scorn myself the whole time I was running down the road. Like it would not be an enjoyable experience. But because I have a dream to finish the marathon in less time than I did the first time, because I have a dream to experience the marathon period for myself again, because I want it, the effort to getting there, the training to run the marathon will actually be full of this element of joy and personal fulfillment because I know that that dream is mine. I'm not running for someone else. I'm not running to prove something to someone or anyone. I'm not running because I feel like I have to. I'm running because inside of me, intrinsically, I want to. I planted that seed for the dream to come to reality. And now when I show up to run, to train for that marathon, while I may not love it, there's less pain in the effort, less struggle in the energy that I put in because I know that the dream is mine. Okay? So this is what I want you to connect with. What is my dream? Sounds like a really simple question, but it's not, is it? What is my dream? Why do I really want this? What is it that's really driving me? Okay? When you get rooted in that dream and you stay connected to it every single step of the journey, the effort that you're putting in feels worth it. It will hurt less because you know that you want it. No one's forcing you to live your dream. No one's saying, hey, you've got to get out there and be an entrepreneur. Remember that this is a choice that you made for yourself. Okay? You get to do this. You get to serve others. You get to create a business. You get to sell your own work, to self-promote. You get to. That's a privilege. Many people would kill to have the freedom that you have right now. And when you connect back to your original dream and lead from that place in your work will feel a lot better and easier for you to follow through it, to complete, to bring to fruition. And that's going to help your dream be realized faster. Okay? So just want to look at my notes because I've got a lot to say on this topic. But what happens when your dream turns to suffering, right? When your dream turns into the challenge, you're going to burn out. You're going to push yourself so hard inside your dream to attain that result that you will burn out. So here's something that I want you to know about your dream. While your dream has no limits, you do. You are a human being in a physical body that has natural limitations. You can't stay up 24 hours. You can't work 15 hours a day and ignore your body, not get any rest, not eat any food, not spend time with loved ones, not get fresh air, not drink water, and still fulfill your dream. You can't do it. It is impossible. So if your dream starts to feel like suffering because you are not well within the dream, then your work is unhappy. You are unhappy. Your dream can only be well when you are well. Your personal brand can only thrive when you are thriving. Okay? So not only are we reconnecting to the reason that you started, not only are we going back to the dream itself, but we're also saying, who am I within that dream? Am I the right carrier for this dream? Am I being the person that I need to be for this dream to come to life? You need to be the one who's well enough to support that dream to come to life, right? So if you are suffering too much within that dream, then you can't carry it. If you are in too much pain, if you are burnt out, if you don't have the energy that's required, if you don't have the creative inspiration, then you can't create the dream. So you must be happy within the dream. You must be happy while you work. You must be happy in the journey so that as the dream is realized, the dream is supported by you, by your vision, and so that you can take those actions every day. Because I will tell you something, a depleted human cannot get the work done to create a dream. A depleted human creates half-assed work. And I know that that might be a little bit harsh, and I know that might feel like ripping a Band-Aid off, but there's truth in it. And I know because I have been that. So many times on my entrepreneurial journey, I have burned the candle at both ends and wound up just like a melted pool of wax on a plate, unable to do anything. So if that's you right now, I feel you. I am coming to you with this message from a place of genuine resonance and true love. Like I know what it takes and I know how easy it is to push yourself too hard within the dream. So what I'm asking you to do next is to know your own limits. Okay? What you're going to find throughout these conversations, throughout our work together, especially if you come into Become the Brand, which is a 30-day course that I am running, or if you come into the Branded Mastermind or private client space, what you're going to experience from being in my world is that you need to come first. The brand is you. So if you are not well, then your brand will not be well, right? So actually, you as the dreamer of the dream, you need to make sure that you feel like some sort of reflection of that dream. You can start by asking yourself questions like, am I living the way that I want to live? Am I treating my body the way that I know my body needs to be treated in order to thrive? Right? Simple things like eating meals, resting, reducing your screen time, right? Protecting your energy at all costs, filling your own cup before you fill other people's cup, making sure that you're served and serviced before you go to serve other people, right? And I need you to know that, because if we're going to work together to build your personal brand, then the whole journey gets to feel good, right? We're not aiming for a single result. I'm not here to help you make it to hit one financial goal or to become famous online. That's not what this is all about. Building your personal brand is all about becoming the version of yourself that you want to be. And that means that you're living the life that you desire to be living, right? And that's where the dream really comes in. That's where the happy you creates happy work. So I want you to notice where you're struggling in your work. I want you to notice where maybe you're bending over a little bit too far backwards to make the dream happen, and to notice that that might be you bumping up against one of your limits. And I want you to have the level of self-responsibility that is required to say, okay, if I'm going to create this dream over my lifetime, if I'm going to tell this story and build this legacy for myself and for my life, then I need to rest right now because I just hit a limit, right? I'm starting to feel depleted. Therefore, I need to dial it down for a second. So I've got a note here that says, rest in this way fuels the dream as much as effort does. I'm going to read that again. Rest fuels the dream as much as effort does. Why? Because a depleted human being creates depleted work, right? A tired human creates tired work. A rested, nourished, fulfilled, vibrant, alive, excited, happy human being creates alive, vibrant, excited, happy work. That is what the world wants to consume. That is what the world wants from you as a leader in your industry. So rest is part of the strategy to create the dream. It's not slowing you down. It's in fact speeding you up. Okay, when you're rested, your capacity expands. So rest is actually required in order to help you get to that next phase of your dream. If you want to have a huge brand and business, you want thousands of clients and millions of followers and a recognizable brand with a reputation that where everyone in town is talking about you and what you do, well, you better be prepared to hold that. Because with that level of recognition also comes a great level of responsibility. And if you are not rested and nourished enough to hold that responsibility when it comes, then all of it goes away. All of it goes away. So the more you understand and embody this, in order to live the dream, I have to be the dream first. I have to take care of myself as if I am the carrier of this dream, knowing that the more I care for myself, knowing that the more I honor and nourish myself, the more the dream will come to life. Knowing this and embodying this truth, the more your brand and business will expand with you. Okay? So I'm going to just read some of these notes to you that I've written down in this giant journal because I know that they're highly relevant and I really want you to have some really big key takeaways from this conversation. So this says, when you're properly cared for, you can hold more, create more, risk more, do and be more. Because you are not starting off from a depleted place. I don't know about you, but when I start my day depleted, when I start a month depleted, when I start a quarter in my business, fiscal year feeling depleted, all of the results follow in my wake. If I'm depleted, you better believe the results that I experience are depleted. That means my income is lower. That means my engagement on Instagram goes down. That means my emails get lower open rates. When I'm depleted, my work is depleted. So we want you to be properly cared for. Inside Become the Brand, I teach you all of this, by the way. Rituals, journal prompts, become the brand habit. Like there's so much inside that course that's going to help you honor yourself through the process. So click the link in my show notes and explore that course. See if it'll be a good fit for you and support you if this is where you're at on your journey, okay? The next thing I've written down is how many of you are trying to build a brand that is you, but you are unhappy, unrested, or unwell? I'm going to repeat that question again because I think it's really, really great question. How many of you are trying to build a personal brand that is you, but you are unhappy, unwell, uncared for? Okay? When you're building a personal brand that is you, that represents you, that reflects you, that then attracts soul clients who are like you and want to be like you, you must be well. You must be the dream in order to build the dream, okay? You must be well for your dream to be well. You must be well for the brand to be well. Effort doesn't feel so hard or painful when you are giving all that you've got towards something that you care about. So while you can't be afraid to put all of you into your brand, well, I highly encourage you to play big and to lean in and to go all in, invest in yourself, create commitments, get disciplined. Get disciplined with your work, but also know that limit. Know when you are coming up against an edge. Know when burnout is approaching. And don't be afraid to rest because that rest is nourishing your dream as much as you are. All right? So I hope that this episode has really brought you back into sort of the roots of why you started and inspired you to take care of yourself as a human being so that your brand can thrive. Okay, I love you so much. Let yourself get curious about the prompts and questions that I asked inside this episode. I love you to the moon and back. Be well, friends. Be well so that your dream can be well. Love you so much, and I will see you right back here on the Brand Is You podcast next week, or I'll see you inside the Branded Mastermind, or Become the Brand, or inside a private coaching space if you are inspired to dive in deep. Mwah. Love ya.